What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning into my channel, Jace's Own World. Just got over 4th of July, Independence Day. I hope y'all had a great time. I was able to spend it with my family and also take a little break from school and work, which is really nice, and just relax and eat some food and celebrate our great Independence Day here in the United States of America. For this video, I am going to talk about the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch versus the SouthBend Stage 3 endurance clutch. The reason why I'm going to do this comparison is because I have ran both of those clutches. I currently have the SouthBend Stage 3 endurance clutch in my car. Both clutches are great and I recommend both of them. But in this video, I'm going to give you the differences and my feelings and impressions on both of these clutches and compare them to each other. So let's get right into this video and talk about the differences, the pluses, the minuses, the benefits, and the performance of each clutch. So let's go. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and talk about the differences between the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch and the SouthBend Stage 3 endurance clutch. Woo, that's a mouthful. So I'm gonna break it up into 5 different segments and I'm gonna talk about those. Number 1, I'm going to talk about the break-in period of each clutch. Number 2, I'm going to talk about the pedal stiffness of each clutch. Number 3, I'm going to talk about the pedal feel of each clutch. Number 4, I'm going to talk about the driveline reactions that each clutch has when you're driving the car, and the pluses and minuses of both of those. And I'm going to end it off with number 5 and the clutch chatter of each clutch. And then after all that, I'm gonna leave my final thoughts and talk to you guys. But before we start with that, thanks for watching again. Please like and subscribe to this video, hit that notification bell, and we'll get right into it. So let's go. All right, guys, so let's talk about number 1, the break-in period. For the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch, the break-in period was about 500 miles, I believe, that the factory recommended. I think I did like 800 miles or something like that. The clutch was decently stiff. I would say probably about 40 or 50% stiffer than stock, but after about 200 miles, the clutch pedal did lighten up a little bit and it was a lot more livable to drive. The SouthBend Stage 3 endurance clutch, the break-in period from the factory, SouthBend I think recommends like 800 to 1200 miles for break-in. I'm only assuming that's because the discs are different with this one. It's a Kevlar disc, so it's gonna grab a lot harder and it just needs to break in more. So the break-in period is a lot more. It asks for about 800 to 1200 miles or something like that. I think I did like 1600 miles just to be safe because it was an expensive clutch and I did not want to ruin the clutch by jumping on it too quickly. So I extended that break-in period as long as I possibly could without going crazy and not being able to pull in my car. The break-in period was not bad. After about 200 miles, the SouthBend Stage 3 endurance clutch did lighten up on the pedal feel. And then after about 620 miles, it lightened up again. And the pedal feel was really good. It was very modular. So as far as break-in, I would say that's a win for DKM. And as far as the pedal lightness after break-in and stuff, I would say that's a win for SouthBend because it just feels a little better. All right, so let's go on to number 2, which is pedal stiffness. DKM after break-in is stiffer than the SouthBend clutch, which is weird because DKM Stage 2 MB uses an organic material for its friction disc, and SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance uses a Kevlar material, which is supposed to be a lot stronger, hence why it can hold a lot more torque than the DKM Stage 2 MB. But it's weird because the pedal stiffness of the DKM is a lot stiffer even after break-in than the SouthBend. The SouthBend, I would say right now, where it stands is probably 20 to 30%. 30% is really high. I would say more closer to 20, stiffer than the OEM clutch. Just a lot better. The DKM is a lot higher, probably 30, 40, 50%. It's just a lot stiffer. And so I will have to say the point for the win goes to SouthBend on the pedal stiffness. All right, so let's get on to number 3 of my list here. If I can get a little better angle right here. And that's going to talk about the pedal feel. Let's talk about the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch first. And I got my little notes so that I don't forget what's going on. So let's talk about the engagement point of the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch. It's very catchy and grabby, meaning when your pedal is all the way down and basically the clutch is not engaged to the transmission, and then you, let's say, are at a stop sign or a stop light, and then you take off and you let the clutch out to engage the clutch. It's very grabby, so you can feel where the clutch grabs, which can be a very good thing for a lot of people because they like that sensation of knowing when the clutch grabs. But the problem with the DKM is that there is no like gradual grab. It's very hard to slip the clutch, is what I'm trying to say. So it's like all or nothing. It's like grab, all or nothing. There is no like slip, 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 and then grab and gradually. I mean, you can do it, but it's a lot harder to do compared to the SouthBend clutch. This leads to less consistency with the DKM clutch. And I personally didn't really mind it at all, but I definitely felt a difference as soon as I got into the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch. And so that's why I'm bringing this up as a comparison. Let's talk about now the clutch engagement with the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch and why I think it is better. Like I said, I do a lot of daily driving, so I need something a little more consistent. And with the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch, the entire pedal feel is a lot more consistent, meaning I can slip the clutch from a stop situation or even on a hill. It's a lot easier to modulate the pedal to take off without it kind of like, going like that or whatever when you're letting the clutch out. That was a big issue with the DKM clutch, was when you're on a hill, probably not that steep, but like anything steep like that, and then you have to get in first and try not to hit the person behind you. Luckily, there's a fail-safe in the MK7 GTI, which is nice, but that fail-safe lasts for like 2 or 3 seconds. And so if you're not paying attention, if you're just kind of like like driving, not paying attention very much, which happens to a lot of us, then you could get yourself in a bad situation because of the way that the pedal is modulated with the DKM clutch. The SouthBend clutch is very consistent and fluid, and so I really like that about the SouthBend clutch. Like I said, taking off from a start is easier, whether on a hill or even on a flat. It's just less grabby and it's just more linear, so it is easier to live with on a day-to-day basis, even with the Kevlar disc, which is awesome. And so those are the two things that I really like about the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch. And so when it comes to pedal feel, I have to say the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch hits the thumbs up mark more for me compared to the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch. All right, so let's talk about the driveline reactions with each clutch. And let's go ahead and start, as always, with the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch. The driveline reaction when I'm driving, it feels catchy, it feels inconsistent, it feels like the driveline is sometimes struggling to connect with the transmission. And this was with both of the DKM Stage 2 MB clutches that I had in my car. It wasn't really bad until I found out that the SouthBend just felt better. It was just catchy, inconsistent, and it felt like when I would step on the gas, the clutch was trying to keep up with the car and the transmission instead of flowing with it, if that makes any sense. It's really hard to describe unless you've driven them back to back with each other. When the pedal was in neutral with the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch, it would idle just fine, nothing bad or anything like that. But when I was in first and I came to a stop and then I would push my clutch in to disengage the clutch, and then I would take my shifter and put it in neutral, and then I would let my clutch out. You could hear a run, run with the RPM. You could hear the RPM like change when I let the pedal out. And that was pretty much every single time that I put it into neutral and I would let the pedal out. Yeah, I would let the pedal out and go, run, and you could see the RPM like run, run, which was really weird. I've never had a clutch do that before, but I thought it was normal because it happened with my first DKM Stage 2 MB clutch that I used as well. Nothing ever came from it, no driveline problems or anything like that, but it was just odd that it made that sound. With the SouthBend Stage 3 endurance clutch, when I would do the same thing, there was no hiccup in RPM. It's just like I put it in neutral, I let the clutch out, and there's no sound. There's no run, run, there's no nothing. It's like the clutch itself is connected better with the car itself. The moment I put the clutch on and I started breaking in the SouthBend Stage 3 endurance clutch, it felt like I got new suspension on my car. It was just really weird. Like everything about the drivetrain was just so much more connected, and it felt like it almost turned, it's really hard to explain, but it turned the car into kind of soft feeling on the road to where it felt like I was connected with the road. Like everything was just more connected through the driveline. And unless you've driven them back and forth with each other, you wouldn't really tell. But the connection with the SouthBend Stage 3 endurance clutch with the car is just so much better. It's like more race car, whatever you want to say. It's more race car feeling now. The downfall of the SouthBend Stage 3 endurance clutch is that there is more gear noise involved, especially in first gear, and especially going in first gear from a stop. There is a little more clutch driveline noise. You can hear it. There wasn't any noise with the DKM clutch. But the pedal feel and the smoothness of the SouthBend clutch is a lot better after that initial 1 or 2 seconds of gear noise, and you're still in first and then you pop in a second. You don't hear any more gear noise from there. It's just more connected. So I will say one plus of the DKM with the driveline connection is that you don't hear any gear noise, and a minus is that you hear a little bit more gear noise with the SouthBend clutch. But everything else as far as connectivity to the driveline and the road and everything with the SouthBend is better than the DKM clutch. And you can feel the expensiveness and the R&D that SouthBend put into their Stage 3 endurance clutch, which is nice because it's an expensive clutch. So it's like double the price of the DKM clutch. So I would hope that it just feels ultimately better, which it does. All right, so number 5, let's talk about the clutch chatter. For the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch, after break-in, the clutch chatter is there. Yes, it is there, and you can hear it, especially with the AC on. I have a past video, I think it's like 3 or 4 videos back, that I made a video of the clutch chatter with my DKM Stage 2 MB clutch in the car. So you can check that out. So it is there, but it's not as bad as what a lot of people think, and it's not as bad as a lot of the other single mass flywheel kits out there, such as the Stage 2 SouthBend clutches. If you go check out some videos, it's pretty loud for those kits. So the clutch chatter is not bad, but it is there. You can hear it, and people can probably hear it. I've never had anyone say, "Oh wow, what's wrong with your car?" or anything like that, but you can definitely hear it. So if you're paranoid about clutch chatter, just a single mass flywheel, setup is probably not the best for you anyway. So stay away from it and get a dual mass flywheel setup. But if you do get a single mass flywheel DKM Stage 2 MB clutch, you will have some chatter. So just be prepared for that. The SouthBend Stage 3 endurance clutch, it's almost not even there. I'm not even making this up. The clutch chatter on the SouthBend Stage 3 endurance clutch is very, very minimal. It's almost like I don't even have an aftermarket clutch in the car because it's that quiet. There's very, very, very little clutch chatter with the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch. I'll plug a video of the clutch chatter with the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch right now, which is with me in line at a drive-through, which most people seem to say it's the worst sounding because you can hear the echoing off the walls and stuff, and the AC is on, so it will be a very good representation of the clutch chatter with the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch. So check this out right now. Okay, so I'm in a drive-through, which most people say is the spot that they hear the clutch chatter with their single mass flywheel clutch kits. So let's check this out. I'm on a SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance, and personally I don't think there's much clutch chatter with this clutch at all. If you can hear, my AC is on. I'm going to turn it up. See, it's blowing. No clutch chatter under there. Can't even hear it under there. Can't even hear it. I hear my AC more than the clutch chatter. There's slight clutch chatter, like a tiny bit. Let's see if you can hear it here. Can't hear anything under there. And it sounds like a normal car outside. There's minor clutch chatter, but that's it. Compared to the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch, this is nothing. Let's get against the wall here and see if we can hear it. All right, it's a little more prevalent there. Okay, just turn the AC up more. Let's turn it to 4. Go back outside. Very minor out there, very minor. Can't really hear it. Let's roll the window up. Inside the car, can't hear it at all. Can't even hear it, guys. Let's roll the back window up. Compared to the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch, this SouthBend clutch is quiet. I'm telling you guys, this is a really quiet clutch. So there you go. There's the drive-through right there. All right, so I hope you were able to hear that. Not much there. As you can tell, there was not much chatter there. With the AC fully on, with the AC barely on, and with the AC off, it's like very minimal. I can leave the car idling and no one even knows that I have a single mass flywheel set up in my car. So with that said, the clutch chatter in the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch is way better than the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch. Now, there are a couple things that I did differently with the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch that I did with the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch, and that is I used Motul manual transmission fluid in my transmission when I did the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch install, which I did with myself and some friends. A lot of people say that when you use the Motul fluid that the clutch chatter is less. So I don't know if that helped with it, but I do recommend that fluid because the transmission works awesome. It's in the hot, in the cold, does not matter. It works flawlessly with the gear changes and stuff. I love that transmission fluid, so I highly recommend it. The other thing that I did differently with the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch is that I used a shim kit that came with the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance kit itself. You can buy this kit standalone. I think it's like 80 or 90 bucks. Just go to Google, search it. You can look in the forums. You can find the part number and stuff. But it did come with the kit, and that kit installs behind the throwout bearing / slave cylinder when you install it. So, and it's not very much. It's just millimeters of clearance, and those millimeters can make a big difference with the clutch engagement and how the throwout bearing / slave cylinder performs and stuff, because it's now bringing the throwout bearing when it pops out to engage and disengage the clutch. It's now bringing it out further. So I don't know if that's part of the reason why there's less clutch chatter, and also part of the reason why the driveline feels more connected and the clutch pedal just feels better. I'm not sure, but the shim kit did come with the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance kit, and so I used it. That shim kit was not used in the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch. So if you can find that kit and you're installing a clutch, I highly recommend it, putting that in there, and hopefully it helps out with the longevity of the slave cylinder / throwout bearing, because they are very problematic with these cars, which is probably the #1 reason why clutch kits on this car fail so often. So when it comes to clutch chatter, the plus goes to SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch, and the minus goes to DKM Stage 2 MB clutch. Like I said before though, the DKM Stage 2 MB clutch is not bad. So if you don't care about chatter, it's a great clutch, chatters, whatever, and it's less than other kits out there on the market. So if you're in comparison to other kits, it's not bad. Just in comparison to the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance kit, the DKM is a lot louder. All right, guys, so my final thoughts on the DKM Stage 2 MB kit versus the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance kit. The SouthBend all around is just the better kit. You can tell that SouthBend puts a lot of R&D into their kits and that they make them very well. Everything about the driveline, the clutch chatter, all that stuff, the pedal feel, the day-to-day driving, everything is just a lot better. The downfall of the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance kit, and basically any SouthBend comparable kit to the DKM, is that they're very expensive. And so I see why people go with DKM or other brands, because they want the performance that they're looking for, to hold the power that they're looking for this car, but they don't want to have to sacrifice their wallet and their hard-earned money just for a clutch kit. So I understand that. The only reason why I went with SouthBend is because when my throwout bearing / slave cylinder failed on my DKM kit, I decided I wanted to try something else, and I needed it really quickly, and the only things that were available was the SouthBend kits. But I still think that SouthBend is about 20 or 30% more than what they should be. But I understand, because a lot of people want them. They put a lot of R&D into them, and so I understand why they're so expensive. I guarantee you, if DKM went and did a little more R&D with their kits, and as well made more kits available instead of just the Stage 1, Stage 2, and Stage 3 twin disc, I guarantee you that more people would start buying them, and they would buy them at even a 20% increase over what they are right now. Because for $800 or $900 for the Stage 2 MB DKM kit, that's a steal in my opinion compared to all the other prices for this car. And for what you get, it's a great kit. But if they put a little more R&D into their kits and sold this same kit with just a little better engineering for about $1,100, they'd be selling all day long. And so I think DKM could work on their R&D, put a little more money into their business, but overall, I think they're a really good company, and I do recommend them if you're on a budget. But if you have a little more money to spend, like double, like double the amount of money, I highly recommend the SouthBend Stage 3 Endurance clutch kit. If you're IS38 or even hybrid IS38 or even bigger, this kit will work just fine because it can hold the torque. I'm enjoying it, not so much the cost, but I'm enjoying driving my car, and it's really transformed my car into a better car. So these are my thoughts and my impressions of the DKM Stage 2 MB versus the Stage 3 Endurance SouthBend clutch. I don't know much about the SouthBend Stage 2 or the SouthBend Stage 3 daily kit or even the drag kit, so I can't really say. But I will say, just as a SouthBend owner now, everything just feels better. So these are my thoughts on everything. This is my comparison. I hope you liked it. Once again, please like and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. And I really appreciate everybody watching this. I'm hoping it helps some people out trying to pick between these two clutches or just a clutch in general. I hope you guys are staying safe out there, and enjoying life and enjoying your cars as always. So thanks again for watching, and I'll check you out on the next one. Peace.